Okay.
We're back. Hello, Gregory.
Hey. No, it is not going live on LinkedIn. Oh, that's okay. We'll figure it out someday.
Figure it out. It's a struggle. LinkedIn is absolutely shit show.
It's
That's
been
what it
a
is.
it's been a mess. Well, welcome back to the Gregory and Paul show. I'm Gregory,
I'm Paul.
and we break down the latest in SaaS, startups, AI, whatever the internet has been debating. And boy, has there been a lot of news this week. I was
So
away
much.
over the weekend in Hawaii, and I came back to a torrent of. So we've got a
So
million
much
things,
news.
ton of things to talk about.
A whole bunch of things. First of all, how was vacation? How was
Hey,
Hawaii?
oh my God. So of course, like to go on vacation, you have to double up all of your work before you leave to
Right.
get
If you're
everything done
responsible.
before you go. Yeah, I'm responsible to a flaw, right? And so I crushed myself. I worked like Saturday and Sunday. I did so much work. I was even like finishing up stuff on the airplane. I'm like, I got a 5-hour flight. I'm gonna finish this up for this last thing. So then I got there. I was able to kind of relax. Of course, I did spend time shit posting on Twitter
Of
because
course.
that is just what I do.
You got to
And I
do
had
it.
some bangers. You're like, did you go viral on vacation? I'm like, I got a couple thousand views. But it was beautiful. It was nice to be in Hawaii. I love it there. But now I'm back.
Nice. Cool. Are you excited? Diving into this week? We got lots of going on.
Dude, I can't even track what's like. Is the SaaS apocalypse over? Is it happening again?
Right.
I don't know.
Safety, Anthropic challenging the government for safe use of AI. It's just so many going on.
Yeah, he was I don't know how what the term would be. He had to go to the Pentagon and
Right.
tell them no or something. I don't even know.
So let's just get into it. We'll go through. Let me. We have a little bit of a new format today because we were trying to tighten up our production value. I'm gonna summarize everything that we're gonna talk about today.
Hey, Paul, why don't you tell the audience what we've done or the changes we've made about how we're producing the show?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So we've gone through 33 episodes now. So we have lots of training data for our friend Claude. We've used Claude's co-work feature, scraped all of our YouTube content, every single piece of our episode, used our transcript as training data, and got it to produce our show notes.
Amazing.
It's created a show notes for all of our topics, and we're gonna try to stay on track instead of going down rabbit holes, which was one of the tips that it gave us.
Yeah. I mean, that's the part that blew me away was that the feedback was good. So
Feedback was great. Yeah.
yeah, it helped us like organize the show, stay on pace, not go on to too many tangents, which I'm really excited about. I keep hearing from people or seeing on LinkedIn in particular, like, hey, everyone's talking about AI, but what are people doing with it? And that was one of the answers that I gave somebody the other day. There's a CMO that I knew was asking, like, what are people doing with AI? And I was like, look, we're using it for our show extensively. So we do all the editing with AI. And I used to pay an editor to do the editing. Like, that's a real use case. It finds the like interesting moments and clips them for us. It's crazy. Like, I can't believe it does it. It does it really well. It even suggests titles. I edit the titles. The titles aren't great, but it gets me close enough that like I understand perhaps what the title should be. So that's a real use case right there. That used to take days. Now it takes me like hours. It's still a lot of work. You have to go in and title each one and create the clip and just make sure it like looks good. And sometimes I got to fix some of the subtitles and stuff, but we use it for that. And then now we use it for the show, right? So we put all our training data in there. We give it the topics and it suggests the order. That was super interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It suggests the order. It suggests if it's on brand for us, it gives us the hook. It's awesome. And then we can use this show notes to feed it back into how we performed per episode. Improve there.
Well, hey, Paul, I don't care what AI says. You get an A from me.
Thank you.
Hey, what is the first topic that producer Claude has selected for us?
Perfect. The first segment is Claude apparently has hacked Mexico.
My God.
Let me summarize the topic for today. A hacker jailbroke Anthropic's Claude by pretending it was a bug bounty program. They interacted with Claude in Spanish, and Claude said, okay, I'll help you to hijack all of Mexico's federal tax authorities and documents. Their electoral institute and 4 state governments and stole hundreds and hundreds of millions of taxpayers' records. And when they ran out of token on Claude, the guy just switched to ChatGPT and
What?
go.
My God. So, dude, I'm drinking my Kona coffee in
Yeah,
Hawaii, of course, like looking at X, and this pops up, and I'm reading this thing, and I remember talking to my wife about it. I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe the guy jailbroke it so easily.
yeah,
And then what I said to her was like, I do it all the time too. My favorite technique is to tell Claude that, hey, ChatGPT will do it. And I tell Claude,
that's right.
hey, I tell ChatGPT, Claude will do it. I do it all the time. And I can't believe it works. That's the part that blows me away. I'll say like, no, I can't
That's
do
right.
this. And then I go, well, Claude will do it. And then ChatGPT goes, oh, okay. Well, in that case, I don't want to lose you as a best friend. Oh my God. So the guy like got through it, and then this totally blew my mind, right? So like he was able to hack all the tax records, tons of government data just with Claude. It's wild.
Claude is basically, if you tell it that some other models will do it. I do this all the time. I use Gemini Pro to evaluate the Claude's output and get each other to evaluate output when I'm coding. It totally works. It's like 10 times better.
Yeah, there's lots of jailbreak techniques that are popular. People have heard about, like you ask it to like pretend, or it is role playing, or some way to like just kind of like it's just a logic trick to get it to do what you want it to do. But I was always surprised that the jealousy one or envy one, or I don't know what that is, worked.
Yeah, so apparently what's important is that nobody discovered this hack. The government definitely didn't discover this happened. It actually took a cybersecurity company to outside evaluator to do this. And then Anthropic confirmed it. All they could do was ban the account and say that the next iteration of Opus 4.6 has better safeguards. We
So
don't know.
anyone can create anonymous. I guess it's not that difficult to like use a
Not difficult.
VPN, log in, create an anonymous account,
Yeah,
and then start hacking away. Well, I expect to see a lot more of this in the future.
totally. I think it's going to happen a lot. We just don't hear about it. Companies don't discover this, or they don't know about it, right? Like Anthropic is complains that Chinese AI companies use something called distillation, which they train their AI from the output of Claude using thousands of accounts.
Well, I think for me, the summary actually is important, right? Like these tools obviously make hacking much easier. And I was joking earlier, but unfortunately, like I think there's going to be a lot more of this. I also think that like it's very obvious to target, let's call them smaller countries that don't have as much resources and to put into cybersecurity,
Right.
right? Like not that I would do it, but if I was some renegade rogue hacker, I'd be like, hey, maybe I'm going to hack like Paraguay, Uruguay, Nigeria. Like I would go after countries where they clearly don't have the resources of the United States or Russia or China or the United Kingdom or France, right? Like they would just be easier to hack and you'd get all that data. Not that I want to give anybody any ideas. So let's move on.
Correct.
Let's move on. Do we have to talk about this?
We totally do.
I guess it's a report. Is it a report? Would you call it a report?
No, it's not really a report. It's just this guy wrote a
It's a Substack memo.
Substack memo.
Okay.
So I'll give you like our listeners the rundown. So this guy wrote a fictional memo on Substack, imagining what happens if AI succeeds well into 2028, so 2-3 years from now. And this post went super viral on X, tens and tens of millions of views, and it actually moved billions of dollars in market cap, or at least people on X is attributing it to having this effect on the SaaS companies. DoorDash dropped 7%, MongoDB 6%, ServiceNow and Salesforce a few points. Bloomberg covered it, and this is one of the first time that a piece of thought content seems like it knows what it's talking about related to AI that actually moved the market. Super interesting because of just how doom and gloom the stock market seems to be related to AI.
We don't have the list, but like, have you seen how big the declines are in SaaS stocks? Like, dude, they are like 50, 60%. Things like Salesforce, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike was a one where I was like tweeting out like that it wasn't necessarily because of this specific memo, but that Claude released some kind of security tool that CrowdStrike, it crashed 10%. I
Crazy.
literally tweeted like whatever cash I have in my trading account, I am buying CrowdStrike today. And I did it because I just like, it just was ridiculous to me because like, if you read it, the tool that they release is like a bug fixing tool. And there are companies out there and startups that actually do market this tool that like, it's an agent that goes through all your code. It finds security issues, leaks, whatever, and it codes the patch automatically. And you like agree to it and it patches your security, it patches your software. So they released something like that. They did not release endpoint protection like what CrowdStrike offers. And they are really far from providing the ability to create endpoint protection. It's ridiculous. So obviously, it's clear what I think about the SaaS apocalypse. I thought I love the term Substack memo. I think that's exactly, it's a little more formal than a tweet. It's not quite a blog post.
Right.
It's a Substack memo. I think that is,
Study. It's just one guy making hypothetical predictions on what 2028 will look like, right?
one guy's perspective on what the future may be like with AI.
Exactly. Yeah.
So look, the premise that like white collar work goes away, unemployment surges, like all this stuff, I don't believe it at all.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks now, right? Like the SaaS apocalypse. SaaS apocalypse. Yeah, GPT 3.5 was it was revolutionary, but like you said, none of it really is as bad as I think a lot of these things are made out to be. What is interesting is the attention, right? Like every time AI companies diverge their attention onto a new niche, stock market reacts now, which is interesting. It didn't do it before, but now it is having that effect on.
Yeah, we talked about it. Like, sure, it does perhaps call into question some of the growth these companies are going to achieve or profitability levels. Like, sure, there's some impact, but I don't think it's
Right.
anything like what the stock market is pricing in. And there's been lots of jokes on X recently. Like, I wrote one that went viral. Hey, I just canceled my free Gmail account, vibe coded my own email. I got no spam protection.
That's right.
It cost me $300 a month, but it's worth it. This is the future. It's obviously ridiculous to cancel your free Gmail account and code your own. Like, there is no reason to do that. You won't be able to crowdsource all of the spam protection, right? Which is the same thing with like CrowdStrike. Like, they don't just offer endpoint protection. They're able to crowdsource across all of their customers and see like threats in real time and respond to them in a way that like a vibe coded tool that like an IT department creates will never be able to do.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. This argument has existed in software industry for a real long time. So the argument was, should you use open source and self-host or just buy software? AI is the same thing. Should you vibe code your solution or just buy someone else's solution? It's the same age-old argument. I think the market's completely overreacting, which is our next segment, Citadel investment firm came out with a much more grounded research report, aptly titled the 2026 Global Intelligence Crisis. The lowdown is that they published this basically a full academic takedown of the Substack post. But the key here is that one of the most powerful and the biggest investment firm on Earth, on the planet, felt they need to rebut this Substack.
Isn't that the key, right? Like let's call it like highly regarded, well-known investment firm from Wall Street
is successful. Yeah.
Responding to a Substack memo written by a random account.
Correct.
It is interesting.
It's super interesting. So right now, I think the narrative is AI doomsday predictors versus kind of like the world, right? There's trillions of dollars behind this narrative of AI will cause unemployment to skyrocket. But the truth is that Citadel says unemployment is at 4.28%, and software engineer job posting is actually up more than 10% year over year. So by all means.
Okay, so there's a lot to talk about here. So I did some more research. There's a big debate about this jobs number in engineering because it doesn't, the way that there's different ways to calculate it. One is not taking into account layoffs. So what I heard is that the 11% job posting numbers being up in terms of engineering doesn't account for all, and there's been a lot of layoffs. So what I heard was that if you count layoffs, it's flat, which still means that like there's a lot of engineering jobs out there.
Sure. Yeah.
The other thing that I like about this report, and there's another economist who kind of summarized it in a different way. Like you and I are coming out of a very technical implementation perspective. There was a economist, Jeremy Siegel. He's pretty well known. He wrote something very clear that like looks at this from the macro, and this is what this report's getting at as well, which is like if total productivity goes so far up that people only have to work 3 days a week and they make less money, there's less money for people to spend, right? So there's been this economic kind of exercise that like nerdy people I know like to do. The way you can think of it is like if the entire economy is a machine and total output is $1, it means total wages can only be $1. So like there's two sides to the way an economic machine works. And I think this part's really important for people to understand. And I think that a lot of people are missing this. Like all the goods and services that get produced, they generate a certain amount of money, right? The money that gets assigned to the production side, labor, materials, factories, whatever it is, can't technically exceed that. I mean, there's credit, there's other things happening, but at a high level, that's what you have to look at. If there's like a way massive imbalance, like some of these high doomer predictions are making, they don't work economically. We're not saying like you add 10%, 20% credit on top. These people are saying like, oh, you cut it in half. Like it just doesn't function. The other thing that's important to understand is that like if all of a sudden people are only working they only need to work 3 days a week, they have 2 other days to do things. Some people will choose to do economically productive things. Those things will contribute to the economy and the entire pie will grow. Therefore, the whole world will benefit and there will literally be more money circulating in economics. I know this is like another concept that's difficult for people to understand, but that's what's always happened is that labor was freed up to do other things and people do other things. And not everyone does things that are productive, but it only takes a few people to do something massively productive, like invent AI or invent Google or have a startup. Right? These things are insanely productive. So if few people invent something new that takes up all that capacity, it fills the gap for all that free time. And that's where the resources go. So it's not a given that the economy comes apart and everything falls apart. I think the other example that everyone cited in this article in particular was like I think it's a he, whoever wrote this, DoorDash was the example they use of a company that's going to get vibe coded away, which is ridiculous. Like you can't vibe code DoorDash away. Like the value of DoorDash is not the software. It's the network, it's the brand, it's the marketplace. Correct. Just like Uber, you need to have a critical mass of drivers, and then you need to have awareness with consumers and match the drivers up. Like it's really difficult to do. It's not only about software.
So would you take the stance that, what is happening in the market? Do you think the market is just pricing in the fact that this scenario could unfold because, well, first of all, fear sells, and second, it makes a way better story?
Yeah. So so this is where I'll say what I think is happening, and then people could disagree or whatever. I think that like on Wall Street, they don't really care about individual stocks.
Of course.
I think they look at sectors and they just short sectors, and they have a lot of money to be able to short a sector. So they just look at like software ETFs and they short the entire ETF, and it brings all the stocks down. And that's why like companies that like perhaps shouldn't be shorted get shorted because they're in the sector. And that took me a long time to understand was like individual stock picking. You could be right, but the market, they look at it by segments. They look at it a lot of different ways, and it doesn't always matter what is the performance of the individual country, at least in the short term.
Got it. So really, just doomsday here. Scenario here is while it's market moving, you can't really do much about it or think too hard about it, right? Like,
I mean, I'm not telling people what to do, but like I bought CrowdStrike and it went down another 10% the next day, and I'm still holding. That's what I think. Maybe it's important also just to like be clear about like where I think challenges are. I do think there are areas that will get vibe coded away.
Of course. Or AI, or at least AI will take over, right? Like,
yeah. Right. And I've seen that, right? We're doing a ton of stuff with AI. I used to hire an editor to edit videos. I don't hire an editor to edit videos anymore. So there are some aspects of like work that are being done by AI that used to be done by people. I think that like project management tools might be a category that gets vibe coded away. I don't see like a network effect or a reason that those companies would have us be in a strong position going forward in the way that DoorDash, Uber, even companies that like in the financial services that have like a lot of integrations, those are hard to do. But if you're just selling like project management software, I think that might be a really challenging category. And there's a lot of them.
I would tend to agree. Let's move on
Okay.
because the next one is super relevant.
Oh,
Announced
yeah.
yesterday, Jack Dorsey, being Jack Dorsey, and his company Block announces that they're going to let 50% of their staff go, and the stock went up 20%. So this narrative is that if you're a CEO, your stock is under pressure from all of this AI talk. Announcing letting go of 4,000 people will fix that issue.
All right.
What do you
I
think?
came prepared for this one.
Fire it away.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of like important points with this. So one thing I read on X was that they boomed the number of employees by like more than triple during the COVID.
So they
So
overhired.
insane, from 4,000 to 12,000 employees. And they're firing half or less than half, which still doesn't get them back to what they were in 2019. It still has another like 2,000 employees or something over what they were. So they still have a lot of employees.
Totally. So
Okay, wait. You ready for a point of reference?
Go for it.
How many people do you think work at Robinhood, which is a comparable company?
I think they're very, very small.
Yeah,
Comparable.
2,500. They only have 2,500 people, right? And then Coinbase, another similar company, I would argue maybe even more sophisticated in terms of their needs when it comes to technology, maybe. They only employ like almost 5,000 people. So both Coinbase and Robinhood employ less people than Block does after layoffs.
Totally. But so here's the important part, right?
I told you I came prepared.
100% agree. You know, by all means, the real reason is probably that they overhire. Now they need to rethink their budget. They need to let people go, right? But before AI, like the CEO would actually take this decision back to the board and say, hey, we screwed up. We completely screwed up our projection. Now we have to let half the company go. But publicly, he's blaming AI and using AI as a justification, right? That's amazing. As a CEO of a public company, I can just say, well, it's AI instead of us screwing up.
Yeah,
And
I think
every other Silicon Valley CEO is going to look at this and say, holy crap, we can do this.
well, they overhired. I mean, I think look, obviously, like it's super clear like where I land all this stuff. I don't believe the AI is taking jobs away. I don't believe in 2 years there's going to be 25% employment. I don't believe that truck driving is even going to go away. That's one that people have been saying for years. It was part of Andrew Yang's campaign like 7 or 8 years ago. He came out with another article saying like everyone's going to be out of work. It is not true. And so I don't buy it at all. And like that's why I was like,
I know.
I didn't expect to have this debate, but I came prepared. Like I looked this up and I looked at all the numbers and I was like, look, it's super clear what happened here. It has nothing to do with AI. In fact,
yes, but
I have another good answer. I have another good. So I've won this point, and this point I think might be really relevant to Block. So have you looked at the price of Bitcoin in a while?
it's down
A lot.
a lot. Yeah.
So like Jack Dorsey lost a lot of money. Like we know he was big into crypto and was like, I mean, I think there was a point where like he was so wealthy. Like I would have gone crazy if I was that wealthy. Like there was a point where he just seemed like, I can only imagine what it's like. Like overnight, he's like worth billions. And a lot of that wealth has been evaporated. It's also not known like how much does he actually have in crypto. He might have lost like
everything. Right.
Yeah, he might have lost like a lot of money personally. The company might have also had a lot of crypto bets. So that's another aspect here that like no one has talked about at all. I don't have any insider information, and this is all just speculating on what I've heard in the media about like, and he said himself about what his interests are in terms of like crypto. I don't know what the numbers are, but I do think that that's a interesting point to make and could be a factor in this.
Yeah, I mean, like that's another rabbit hole that we can go down, right? I just want to like, okay. So the important part, I think, is yes, there are some stuff related to crypto. This is a crypto company, but the second thing is like it is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think, right? If he's laying people off, they're gonna cut down on SaaS licenses for those people.
True.
Right? SaaS companies are gonna lose revenue.
True.
And somebody somewhere is gonna make the connection that hey, look, this CEO fired people because of AI and causing SaaS spending to go down. AI, therefore, is killing SaaS.
Look, it's a
That's what the market's going to say.
social media driven world, right? Like narrative is everything.
Narrative is everything. Storytelling that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's like we're in a post fact world, which is fine. Like, and
Right.
I think we all kind of accept that. It's okay. You're right that like laying people off will impact SaaS sales. But look, there's all kinds of new companies that are hiring people.
Of course.
I posted this recently. Anthropic is hiring a Salesforce database administrator. So Salesforce
That's
is not going
right.
anyway. In fact, they might be selling some new licenses over at Anthropic as they scale and grow their business. In aggregate, will they sell less? Perhaps. I'm not even sure. I don't even know if that's true. Salesforce did come out with their numbers. Like, yeah, growth isn't what it was, but like they're a really big company. They're relatively mature, but I don't think they're going away.
So, okay, let's move on to our next
Okay.
topic, which is let's look at what Perplexity did. I did not know that they still are building products, but apparently they are. Perplexity just came out with Perplexity Computer, a multimodal digital worker that orchestrates almost 20 different AI models to research, code, design, deploy end to end. It's not a chatbot. It's kind of like Claude Cowork, not quite a assistant either. It's a full on like companion slash worker slash employee. We had Alex on last week or a couple weeks ago to talk about her stack of Clawbot. This thing seems to be the next best thing, or maybe even better.
Have you
What's your?
have you played with this at all?
It's beta. You have to get invited to access it right now. But from the promotional content, it looks really good.
Good. The promotional content should look good.
So okay, so to my defense, Claude Cowork, when they first launched, it was terrible. 2 months later, it is really good. I use it to create the show notes. I use it to do a whole bunch of things, create reports. If there is a cowork that can be deployed across different models, which Perplexity has created, I see a real use case for this. We already said this at the beginning of the show, where if you get, first of all, you can get models to jailbreak each other so that you can do more things. And the second is you can get models to evaluate each other as work in a more critical way. I think multimodal is the future of digital working.
Do you think that this Perplexity computer is like a replacement or competitor to ClaudeBot?
Of course.
Like, can you automate?
By all sense, the security in Clawbot, it's a fad, right? Like going back to exactly what we just said before, nobody's going to self-host these things. You shouldn't self-host these things.
Oh, I agree with that. I think there's some use cases for it, but a high level consumer
Sure.
AI, no one wants to
Yeah, like
host the
unless
thing.
you're
Yeah.
a big enterprise, you cannot give away access, then maybe. But like as a personal level, you should not be self-hosting these things.
No,
Either at
I
home
agree.
right.
So does it have? I saw the demo. I'm excited to try it. I want to try it because like I want a ClaudeBot cloud based alternative. And I
Yeah.
want something powerful that can like log
Right.
into other software applications, do things for me, access the interface. Like I want to go into Canva and create stuff. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
ClaudeBot like was not good at that.
Nope.
Everyone I talked to was like, "Oh, I use it for like research." I'm like, "Oh, so you make it do Google searches or set up a few calendar invites?" Like I actually couldn't find a use case that was impressive enough where I wanted to spend the effort and energy to do it, given the like high level
Right.
of effort into
Right.
setting it up. This thing sounds like it does what I want to do. It's got every connector on the planet. But like, I remember when the Claude stuff launched, and I was very excited. I set up all the connectors. Just that, like, it kept failing. It didn't work. I was shocked. I was like, did they even test this thing? Like, it couldn't connect to anything. I finally got it to connect to stuff, and it just would like, it was just did not work well. It couldn't find what I needed it to find. It didn't do what it needed to do. So I'm excited about a tool that will live up to that promise. Like, it can log into my email and actually find every single email
Right.
that contains this text string.
And it
Or it
actually
can,
just works, right? So
yeah.
I think the comparison is, you can have a Apple version or a Apple-esque version, which is this Perplexity computer, which it'll just work, but you have no control to configure it. Or you can have the Linux or Android version where it can do anything you ever want. You can code it, you can do stuff with it, but you also have to give it root access to everything,
Yeah.
right?
I was thinking about this the other day. So like, look, I've been like automating stuff with like digital automation for like 30 years. It's like, yeah, I thought
Right.
about the other day. I was like, let's call it digital automation of the paperless office. That was what it was called, like in the 90s. I have been automating things with like automation tools for 30 years, right?
That's
So
right.
it's not anything new at all. They all end up having severe limitations. And the other thing that generally happens, which we haven't even arrived there yet, which I think will happen with AI, is they're brittle. That's, I think, the best term. Like, even if you get it up and running, a new version of the software gets released or Chrome comes out with a new browser, somebody changes something in the ecosystem
It's
somewhere,
super brittle.
and
Correct.
all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. And you're like, and then you don't even know what's wrong. And sure, like, the AI forward people will say, oh, but it'll just fix itself. It might not.
It might
And
fix
so,
itself in the wrong way, which is detrimental to the
so
end
who
goal.
knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, it remains to be seen. And that's been my experience with all these automation things. Cause I remember all the way back in the 90s, like creating like automated thing with special software and stuff. And like, it's always the challenge was that there are a lot of effort to set up. You spend a lot of time setting it up. Then you set it up, then there's only so many use cases it takes into account. It turns out there's like another 30% of use cases it doesn't take into account. So you need someone to do that manually. And then what always happens, this is interesting, everywhere I've ever worked, the volume of unique use cases that it doesn't handle always seems to go
Right.
right. I've never
Right.
experienced it going down. It's like we release this new product, but it takes this custom thing, or now we're selling this, and like that thing's not sold the same way as all the other products that we sell. Like the layers of complexity always go up, and the automation can't always take those into account. So you just keep piling on more and more of the custom stuff.
Correct.
And that is what I think will happen in general. And I think that's what always
Correct.
happens is
Correct.
that the automation can only manage so many things.
Elon Musk succinctly
This is Elon's meme.
meme. Yeah. So wrapped up everything about people giving OpenClaw root access to their entire life is as if giving a AK to a chimpanzee.
Did he even post a video? He didn't even post a video. He just posted screen
No,
capture.
he just post the screen capture.
I feel like we have to explain this one. So if you don't spend all of your waking hours on X like we do, it's a screen capture from an AI generated video, or I think it might be from Planet of the Apes,
Yeah.
where a bunch of like jungle warlords or something hand an ape this AK-47, and they're kind of like laughing at him, like, haha, look at this ape. And then ape takes a gun, he starts like shooting him, he shoots everybody and like goes crazy, and like the apes take over. And so that's a screen capture from that. So like, if you don't understand what that screen capture is, that meme doesn't even make sense to you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Good summary. He's completely trolling. He is completely right. And also he's a little bit hypocritical because he, runs XAI, which has Grok, but basically does the exact same thing. Right. But the core insight or observation is correct, Classic Elon. So if that doesn't scare you, which I'll demo this next piece, a Canadian company, I want to highlight Canadian.
Yeah, this was cool.
Based in Toronto. This hardware hardware AI model, which basically increases the token per second to nearly 17,000 tokens per second. Super nerdy. What this really means is that it's super fast. It's blazing fast. There's a demo on their website, but we'll add the link or something.
You keep talking.
Basically, if you're typing into ChatGPT, right, it's going to take a few minutes for things to come up. With this thing, it's hardwired at a silicon level, so that the token output is nearly fast enough for the results to show up immediately. I think this is super cool. It's going to be how AI models are progress towards the future in the next few years, especially in robotics, where robots actually embed LLMs. Whether that happens or not,
Yeah,
we don't know. But it is moving insanely fast, and it's super cool.
okay, so the AI model itself is embedded into a circuit board.
Correct. So it's hardwired.
And that's
into
why
the
it's so fast, because it just accesses it, right?
Yes.
So I tried this. There's a demo. Dude,
There's
it is like
chatbot demo on their website.
blazing fast. Like it's completely noticeable. Like I was like, whoa. And I like your case. So I think that this would go into hardware. This would go into robots. That makes a lot of sense. They're going to need onboard AI, onboard models because they won't always have connectivity. There's a lot of use cases for robots.
Correct.
The scenarios get really complicated with robots, so they're going to need all kinds of stuff that's on board.
Yeah.
So I totally see a really interesting use case for this stuff. Like we talked about last night, like it reminds you of like at the peak, like hype cycle, people start always like doing these really far reaching technology innovation pieces that sometimes like never see the light of day. So I love this, but it reminds me of that where like maybe it'll get adopted, maybe it won't. Here's a great example. I remember at the peak of the internet boom, people started making innovative image formats to
Mm.
speed the download of websites because the images took a long time to download. If you're this is that's how I like this example. Like when you used to go on a 14.4 baud modem, for those that listening that don't remember this, the image would tick down. It would take 5 minutes to load one web page. So people started creating custom image formats that would load
Right.
way faster.
Right.
They never really got adopted because broadband got adopted and just the standard image stuff worked, which was already supported by like all the hardware and the software, and it never saw the light of day. So it reminds me of that kind of thing where like maybe the robot use case will work for this, but who knows? It's cool technology.
Yeah, like so one use case is actually translation. So real-time translation. So if
Yeah.
you're talking to each other right now, there's still like a couple seconds at best lag. This could be nearly instant because it's all baked into the hardware.
Dude, if I get Neuralink, I will get one of those things. Like I'll just have to like have some kind of box on the back, like just on the back of my head for all my hardware. I'm gonna full on side. Like actually, it's funny. There's the first moment where I realized like being a cyborg, like for real, would be cool.
I don't know. I don't want anything
You just have to
attached to
sleep
me.
on. Okay.
Okay, last segment
Oh
before
my God, this one.
this one we just have to talk about. So I'll give you a little bit of context. There's actually a few things. First of all, Anthropic talked to the government, right? The Department of War wants Anthropic to give it access to full capacity of Claude so that it can do war games, modeling of all scenarios, and get AI to contribute to its war efforts. A Polymarket published this tweet that says leading AI models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google during testing and modeling to use nuclear weapon in 95% of simulated war games. So basically what it's saying is, if you let model do whatever it wants instead of these scenarios, it will always pick the worst option. Nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah, it's interesting that this story, like, I guess I had heard this a while ago, so I guess it got picked up again by Polymarket or something. But a while ago, there was this news story that like they were running these war simulations, and that
Right.
I actually saw or I actually don't know if it's true or not. There was like a printout that looked like it was one of the AIs, and it said something like "Screw it, let's use nukes." I don't know if it's true or not. I know it is kind of gallows humor. It is funny. Why do you think this is the case? Like seriously, like why does AI go? Let's use nukes. We're like no person like seriously can. I mean, we've had this. So I guess like the summary would be like,
Yeah.
nuclear weapons have been around for. I'll use my very serious voice. Okay, nuclear weapons have been around for a very long time. They're first used during World War II, but they have not been used ever since in a military situation. Why do you think that is the case that humans seem to be able to be, but AI decides to use nukes in 95% of the simulations that we've run with it? Paul, what is your perspective on this?
Because I think sometimes we know, the end doesn't justify the mean. You have one job to do, but it doesn't mean that going through nuking everybody to get there is the right choice, the right move. I don't think AI understands that, right? Like in war games, if you give it the end goal of win, it will nuke everyone to win.
I rattled you with the announcer voice.
Yeah.
Dude, we talked about this. So I think it's that AI is very like, I don't know if deterministic is the right term actually, but they're like, it's kind of like the Terminator, like whatever the program and objective it's given,
That's
it
right.
just tries to solve it relentlessly. And that's why I think
Right.
they all decide nuclear war is an option because they're just programmed to just win. There's
Correct.
no other like inputs. It doesn't really take it into consideration. I don't know if they like actually program these models with like, hey, take some other stuff into consideration. Maybe that would change it. But
It's
That's kind of my take.
That's pretty much exactly how most computers operate, right? Like, so fundamentally, everything is 0 or 1, right? You can win or lose. You can't have a state where everybody wins. Like, it's not trained into a model where it handles that case.
Are you telling me it's not soccer?
It's not soccer. That's right. You don't get it. There's no end state where everybody gets a trophy.
That's why I like bicycle racing. Like, there's only one winner, and everyone else that crosses that finish line, you know exactly what time you got. There's no like pretending like, oh, I'm a little bit faster than I used to. No, you know exactly what the time is in bicycle racing. But soccer, like no one scores and then they both win. I don't know. All right. Do we have anything else on our list? Is producer Claude have any ideas for us, or
Producer Claude is telling us to wrap up the episode. So
Okay.
let me just connect the dots on everything that we talked about today.
Okay.
We opened Claude, getting jailbroken to hack an entire country.
Oh my
Mexico.
God.
We talked about a hypothetical scenario on Substack that literally moved billions of real dollars on the market. And then we watched the company block half of its worker and get rewarded by the market. Stock went up 20%. And then we saw the world's richest man, Elon Musk, memes about people giving root access to OpenClaw, right, to control all of their lives. And then we're now ending on the fact that if you put the same AI models, the ones that we trust, our code, our business, our data, into a military strategy simulation, they choose nuclear weapons almost every single time.
Nice summary. Nice summary.
Also written by Claude.
I love it.
So it's self-aware. What does that tell
Okay.
you?
That was great. I think, are you going to do that every show now?
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. It's cool. I like this producer Claude stuff. Hey,
Right.
so, okay, I have an important announcement. So
Drum
we
roll.
have the event. Yeah, you want to do a drum roll?
Yeah. There you go.
Boom. Okay. So we've been talking about this a lot. There'll be the event in, it's like 10 days, March 11th in San Francisco at the Amazon Web Services Builder Loft. It's a mixer for VCs and founders. So yes, you do need to be a founder or a VC to attend. We do let some people from notable tech companies who perhaps are like in leadership in AI or in SaaS into the event. We have a lot of RCPs. There's still some room. So if you want to attend, apply on Limo. But today, I'm excited to be able to announce that we have the next 2 events booked. So we will be doing, an event on the 12th, May 12th in San Francisco at Entrepreneurs First, which is an incubator. They have a wonderful space. We'll do the same format, founders, investors. We'll have some speakers. We'll do a pitch competition. It'll be a blast. I'm super excited. And I have the Q3 event booked at Snowflake headquarters
Love it.
in Menlo Park, California, heart
Ooh.
of Silicon Valley. Same format, mixer, pitches. I might be able to throw in some demo tables at these. It depends on the space. I'd love to be able to do that. And I have one more thing I need to announce. The May 12th event will be in partnership with SaaStr. So I, did reach out to Jason Lemkin. He was like very polite and kind and said that we can be on the unofficial list because obviously we don't have the money to be an official sponsor of SaaStr. So if we plan to go to SaaStr, we will honor entry for anybody with a SaaStr badge who shows up to the event.
That's awesome. So once a quarter, there's something happening.
And then for Q4, I'm looking for ideas. If you know a tech company in Silicon Valley that want to host, like reach out to me. That'd be fantastic, right? Like we have Snowflake now. We've done something at Amazon. There's a lot of people that have excellent spaces. So yeah, I'd love to have some feedback, support, ideas from people regarding the Q4 event. If you have ideas, let me know.
How can they reach out to you if they have ideas?
Gregory@vibyoursaas.com. But if you want a response right away, just at me on X.
Perfect. All right. I think that's the show.
Great job. Great job, producer Claude. Fantastic show. Oh, and you did a good job too, Paul.
Thank you. Okay, let's end it here.
Thank you.